Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus again, coming to you because there are some answers that you need to receive. You are in pursuit of some solution. You're giving it your best shot, but useless. In response to the shootings that took place in Florida just the other day, about 17 children, 17 deaths occurred. I even hear that some of the faculty or staff were murdered as well. The students, they got a strong voice, they got a good strong will. And I hear that they're going to be executing a march to display their disagreement and dissatisfaction with the way the politicians are responding to this situation. I'd like to say that I am really happy that the students recognize that they have a voice. Also, I recognize that there will be other people out there with them, but I want to be honest with you and tell you the truth. As spokesman and advocate for basic human rights for all people, it's not going to do any good. It's not going to do any good. And I'm not trying to rain on your parade. I just want to give you the truth, and maybe you can listen to the solution. You've heard Black Lives Matter at one time got a lot of people on the street marching. You heard of the Me Too movement, got a lot of people on the street a lot of people moving. And I believe there was another time when the president was inaugurated, that there were a lot of other people on the streets. But let me ask you something. Has anything changed? There was a time that people thought marching would change things, but it is not the marching that changed things. It is the problems, the things that happened because of marching. People lost their lives. People gave their lives willingly. It's going to take stuff like that to bring about the kind of changes, not just in the politics, but in the system. It's going to take real action. When you go out there because you're upset about what happened with the kids, with your classmates, that's just one of you. You see, what does this actually say about you? It's saying that all of a sudden something has touched you in a sensitive spot and you want to do something. But why now? Why is it touching you right now? You see, it's a continuation of the things that have always been going on. Division. You go out, you get upset. Somebody else have a problem, they get upset, and they get their march, and you get your march, and people who are looking for some fundings for this because they've been shortchanged, they go and stand up for what they want. Another group stand up for what they want. And you're being responded to as pieces. In order to be powerful, ladies and gentlemen, school children, you got to come together. You got to unite. Your concern got to be more than just your concern. And your concern got to be broader. You got to take in the fact that what happened to your students, your classmates, is not only the thing that troubles you, but you're mad because of what happened to the people who are losing their health care. You're mad because of the people who don't have the adequate jobs that would allow them to engage themselves to enjoy the fruits of life. What I'm saying to you is this. People across this country, every last one of you got your choice of problems that you want to deal with. There's no victory in that. You got to come together. You see, there is a principle that I would like for you to employ. Your parents love you, and they will do anything for you. Some parents can't do for their children like yours can. Some of them have to give their children away because they want them to have a better life. Well, I want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, sisters and brothers and school kids, there is a parent that is not politics, is not Republican, is not Democrat, is not independent. There's a parent called God, and I hope you don't get upset because I'm telling you the truth. There's a parent called God, and God loves every last one of you, even the shooter. We don't know why this guy did what he did, but he did what he did, and there were some reasons behind it. God loves that kid as much as God loves you. And God has a plan, my friends, that allows every last one of you, every last child of God, young, old, black, white, men, women, gay, straight, that if that plan was employed, it would create heaven on earth. But the people have chosen to defy that God. The people have decided to follow another rule. You see how divisive it is? Conservatives. They got their thing. They're not bending to anything that the liberals talk about. Liberals got their thing. They're not bending to anything the conservatives talk about. You see how the devil is in there? You see how the devil is in the midst of all of that? That's to keep you from accomplishing anything. And in the process, they who benefits from all of this gets it all. So what I'm saying to you is that unless you can come together, you got to exercise a principle. Some of you go to church, and you've heard the story about the rich young ruler who walked to Jesus and said, "Good master, what is it that I must do to be saved?" And the good master began to tell him all the things that don't lie, don't cheat, all these kinds of things. And he said, "Well, I already keep these things. All these things I already do." Then the good master says, "Well, take all you got and go sell it and give it to the poor." To say that whatever you're doing, because the poverty exists in this country, because of the poverty exists at that time, there's still something that you can do. And without doing it, you're not fit to be saved. So go take your stuff and give it to the poor. He says, "I can't do that. I just can't do it." Because his trust was in stuff. And having come to this conclusion, the disciples asked, "Good master, who is it then can be saved?" And the response was, man cannot be saved of himself. Man got to be saved of God. What does that mean? That means you got to change your way of thinking. All the stuff that you thought, all the stuff that you've been educated against when it comes down to people, you got to forget it. That hatred, that bigotry, that prejudiceness, you got to forget it. You got to love your neighbor. Here's the key. They say the greatest commandment of all is that you love God, the creator of you and all things. Then the second commandment is that you love your neighbor as yourself. That means if you got MS and you're over there talking about getting some money to fund this, you got cancer over here, you don't separate yourselves. You come together for health care. Every sickness, every disease is covered under health care. And so all of you come together and you speak to the powers that be, say, we want health care for everybody, and don't be playing no games. That says that you recognize the power of God. And now you're showing it because you're not just standing out there for yourself, just for your school kids or your classmates that got killed. You're standing up for everybody. That's the second commandment. And there's a third commandment. You don't hear it like this. But it's the third commandment is this: thou shalt have no other gods before me. What does that mean? That means that anything that would separate you and your love from one another is from pit of hell. And if you want to be served with peace and prosperity and joy, you've got to resist all of that. You've got to resist it all. Now, there's no reason for Donald Trump being president and doing the kinds of things he's doing with this government, except that the people don't care about one another. They've been strangled whole. They've been beat down. And yet, the Bible teaches us, and truth teaches us, that you shall reap what you sow. And so the reason that you aren't getting any answers is because you're continuously doing this divisive stuff. Come together. You're talking about what's happening there in Florida. Every city on that day should be recognized with the people in every town, every state that got problems that they don't like. Now, your problem might not be the same problem that someone else has, but they have the problem, and because they're your brothers and you have compassion for them, you stand in that stead, you stand in that gap, and everybody stands up and say, we're not having it no more. And mean it. And some of you who really know God, you got to die for it. Why? Because a man, true man of God, is not trying to save his life. He's dedicating his life to make a difference. The blind are the ones who don't know the truth. They're the ones that's championing this stuff. How can you be sick and somebody, let's go march for cancer? Let's go walking for cancer. When the power to do it is right here. The evidence, the medication, the research, the doctors, the patients, all right here. What you walking for? You got to change the system. Change the system. Now, I hope I haven't disturbed you. I hope I haven't gotten you really upset. But I want to tell you the truth, and that is the truth. No man can save himself. You got to have God. That means you have choice. You got the choice of the plan, the original plan, that keeps peace and prosperity and joy, or you got a plan to go your way, which might take you with a Republican, take you to a Democrat, take you to a conservative, take you to a liberal, take you all the different directions. And you're not getting peace, you're not getting prosperity, you're not getting joy because you're on the wrong plan. That is so you can wake up, recognize what's going on, and let your choice be the choice that produces peace and prosperity and joy for everybody. Now, when you can do that, you become a winner. In the meantime, you're just wasting time. Thank you so very much.